big news and big moves coming up for this weekend's Hungarian Grand Prix. Welcome to the F1 Digest, and this morning, July 28th, we are receiving the news that Sebastian Vettel will be retiring at the end of the 2022 season. And what big news this is, because it leaves a whole nother seat open for the driver market that we've been talking about. A crazy driver market already, just got even crazier going into the Hungarian Grand Prix, where it's being predicted that Nicholas Latifi is going to be out after the Hungarian Grand Prix, so possibly his last race in Formula One. And yeah, so the big four-time world champion, Sebastian Vettel, will be retiring at the end of the season. As far as I'm concerned, there are now 2 seats opened up at Aston Martin. I'm very skeptical that Lance Stroll will be keeping a seat there, even though his father does own the team. I'm putting big question marks over his seat and his safety, and maybe even his desire or passion to be in F1 anymore, because so far the team has struggled, and I'm attributing that reasoning for why Sebastian Vettel has considered retiring. I think that the performance of the car, the performance of the team, never really lived up to the expectations that Sebastian Vettel wanted. Moving from a team like Ferrari, it was a big gamble moving to Aston Martin, coming off of the Force India and Racing Point years where they were doing pretty well as a midfield team. And yeah, it's just a move that didn't pan out. Sadly for us, that leaves us with one less world champion on the grid. And, you know, a very, very wonderful character around the paddock. I never got the chance to meet Sebastian Vettel. But, you know, I would have loved to seen him on the grid and do what he loves. And, you know, it would have been a very big pleasure to meet him. Maybe we can even get him on the podcast one day. Who knows? But yeah, there's no news yet as to who's going to replace Sebastian Vettel. Now we have a few names that we've thrown around before. If Daniel Ricciardo leaves McLaren, he could possibly go to Aston Martin. He has a relationship, or had a relationship with Aston Martin when they were partnered with Red Bull, so there's some workings there. We have Oscar Piastri, who was robbed, in my opinion, of a seat this year in Alfa Romeo when they chose to go with Guan Yu Zhou, who has gone above and beyond my expectations of him in Formula One so far, and is a magnificent driver. But Oscar Piastri, one of those drivers, champion of F2, robbed of a seat in F1. He could possibly go to Aston Martin. Now, would that be the best career choice for him to make, being paired up with a young driver, well, a relatively young driver in Lance Stroll? There could be some other moving around that could happen, such as Alex Albon being moved from Williams to Aston Martin, and, you know, that could kind of work itself in there, and then that leaves the seat open, 2 seats open actually, at Williams for Logan Sargent, who has been doing incredibly well in the F2 Championship this year, and Oscar Piastri, who's already been scouted for that F2 or that Williams drive in Formula One. That could even come as soon as getting him in the car after the Hungarian Grand Prix this weekend. So we could see that move happening. Uh, there's other opportunities in Nico Hulkenberg. When I heard the news this morning, I was like, oh my goodness, this is a perfect opportunity for Nico Hulkenberg to get his seat back in F1. But then I was thinking, oh, well, what about all the young drivers that are coming through the ranks and still don't have their seat in F1? And, Oscar Piastri, Logan Sargent in the Williams car, and then, moving Alex Albon over, or even in the likes of Mick Schumacher, following in the footsteps of his hero in Sebastian Vettel, hero and mentor, by the way. He could possibly be moved over. There was rumors and talks closer to the Canadian Grand Prix that he would replace Sebastian if his seat ever came under fire from Haas and Ferrari. Now Ferrari's in a different situation. They have both of their seats locked down. Their drivers Carlos and Charles doing phenomenally well, albeit having some major team blunders in there. It would be a nice sight to see Mick in red, but I think he's got to look for something that will advance his career and kind of get him on his own path, his own direction, external to his family legacy, in his father being at Ferrari and him being a Ferrari Academy driver. He could start looking to other teams. His father drove for Benetton in his early career, and you could kind of see Benetton or Aston Martin as another sort of Benetton-esque team. But there's still lots of conspiracies out there, ideas about who's going to replace him, what's going to happen now at Aston Martin. Big news, big moves coming up after this Hungarian Grand Prix weekend. So we'll be looking out for any more news that comes out in the future. Thank you so much for getting this far in the video. I will have the preview to the Hungarian Grand Prix up next. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for getting this far. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell down at the bottom there. If you really enjoy our content, please help us and support us over here at F1 Digest. We really appreciate it. We still notice that most of you are not subscribed, so go hit that subscribe button. And you can go follow us on Instagram and TikTok. We got some content coming out there. But thank you very much. Big news in the F1 world, and I will see you in the next video.